Today's pattern is a Mercury Flashback RS2. When you really think about it, the South Platte has been a river that so many patterns, legendary patterns, have originated over the years. And I think one of the most popular, without any shadow of a doubt, is the RS2. Rim Chung invented that pattern back in the early 1970s, and it stands for Rim's Semblance number 2. There was an RS1, which is a mayfly nymph, but the RS2 is an actual mayfly emerger. This is an actual variation of the original pattern. I'm going to begin by clamping a Tiemco 101 into my vise. And I'm going to use some 8/0 uni thread and begin with a jam knot behind the bead. I'll advance this thread back towards hook bend. And I'm going to use a little bit of saddle hackle for the tail. And there's a lot of different variations to the tailing. Some people use micro fibets, others use hackle like I do. And really, it's just a personal preference for the tire. For me, for so many years, time was money. So I used hackle to kind of simplify the tying process. I typically grab a few of the fibers off a medium or dark dun cape. And I'll put the tail in there. And like so many of our other nymphs, we want them to be, the tail is going to be about 2/3 of a shank length long. And I've got just a straggler. I'm going to trim that. And we're going to secure that into place. Take a few turns there to secure that bead. Probably the single most important component to tying an RS2 is keeping it thin and sparse. I'm going to use a small piece of flashaboo for the back strap. And we'll tie this in right behind the bead and extend that back towards the tail. The first person that I ever saw use this particular technique was Tom Whitley. He had a little flashback RS2, and this is kind of a variation of his pattern. I'm going to take a little bit of Adams Gray superfine dubbing. I'm going to tie a very, very thin and very, very sparse dubbing needle here. The start of this dubbing needle is just barely thicker than the thread itself. We'll start wrapping this forward right up till about the 50% point on the shank here. We're going to pull that back strap over the top and secure that into place. And you'll see that produces a really nice little flashback variation there. And the final part is to tie in a wing, because this is a true emerger. This is a Baetis emerger, although if you change the color of this bug, you can fish it in olive, you can fish it in PMD, you can fish it in black for tricos, for instance. There's a lot of applications where this fly, just by changing the color of the dubbing, can imitate a different mayfly. This is a material called Glamour Madura. It's an embroidery thread, and I use it a lot on a lot of my emergers. And it's a great little addition, adds a little bit of sparkle to it compared to the original pattern that was tied out of the webbing off of a feather. And the final step is to not get too carried away with the dubbing, but just lay a little dubbing band between the bead and the wing itself. And then the whip finish right behind the bead. Trim the thread. We'll pull those strands of Glamour Madura up. We'll trim them off, and I think one of the most important parts here is to actually frizz that wing out. So there you have it, a completed Mercury Flashback RS2. My favorite size is a size 20, but certainly I would recommend carrying an 18 and a 22 as well. I want to thank everybody for watching the Blue Quill Angler fly tying tutorial. If you have any questions or concerns about today's tying session, by all means give us a call at the shop at 303-674-4700 or email me at patd@bluequillangler.com. If you want to purchase any of the materials that we used in today's session, follow the links below or go online to our website at bluequillangler.com. I want to thank you for your continued support. I hope our paths cross again soon, and I look forward to the next tying session.